welcome back. Candace here, and today I'm sharing a layout for the cut shop using the Happy Clouds cut file. So here I'm just showing you the cut file that I chose, and I went ahead and made it large enough to cover a big portion of the top of my layout, and now I'm just showing you that I'm going to back the cut file with various papers from the 6x6 pad. So I covered most of the holes, not all of them, but most of them, and I'm going to go ahead and place that in the upper third of my 12x12 layout. Now what's interesting is that I really stepped out of my comfort zone. Most people who watch my channel know that most of the time I use all white backgrounds. I just like the look of a nice clean white background, but I love this paper from LE Studio, and the items that I used in today's layout are from the Happy Moments collection, or Little Moments collection from LE Studio, and I just love it. And so this 12x12 paper, it is mostly white with just those little sketched gray hearts, and so I went ahead and decided to just step out of my comfort zone a little bit and use that, and I love how it turned out. So now that I have backed the cut file, I'm going to take some of the embellishments and I'm just going to add to the circles. So staying with that circle idea, I used that little Love This black circle and backed it with a little piece of vellum. I did back my photo with a little bit of vellum just to create a little bit of softness between my photo and the cut file. I'm also grabbing, I have the wood veneer pieces from the Little Moments collection and this little ephemera pack. So I'm just grabbing little pieces and deciding what I want to add to the layout. So here is when I decided I grabbed a little bit of thread, and I'm just going to bunch that up behind the photo, again to add a little bit of softness, but to also add a little bit more texture. Even though I do like mostly white on my layouts, I like to have different textures, and I also like to work with different dimensions, and that is why on the cut file I use those little pop dots, and I popped up my cut file, and then because my photo is going to be overlapping a portion of the cut file, I needed to make sure that I also popped up that photo. So usually when I place adhesive over the thread, it holds that thread in place, but because I didn't know if I wanted to add some layers behind the photo, I just placed adhesive in the center of the photo. So you'll see me in a few minutes. I'm going to end up fussing with that thread a little bit because I wanted to make sure that the thread came out from underneath the photo and covered up a little bit of the tags underneath the photo. Just again to add a little bit more interest, as opposed to placing everything on top of the thread. I wanted some pieces of the thread to be underneath the photo and some pieces of thread to be on top of my embellishments. So I added that little pink heart, and in a minute I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down by sewing using my sewing machine. So right there I was showing that I have the Little Moments stamp, and what I'm going to do is I'm using some Hero Arts gray ink, and I'm just going to pull up the cut file in the corners just so that star stamp will be peeking out just a touch in a few places around the layout. And I love how that ended up looking. Just to add a little bit of those stars, the actual stamp has a few stars and then a few little dots. So adorable. And so I just like that it was just peeking out from behind the cut file. So right now I'm going to add a little bit more stamping, and then I'm going to take that little tag that says I love you more than, and I'm going to take that over to my typewriter, and I'm going to go ahead and type on that. And I went ahead and typed on that, and then I added my stitching, and I was just pulling up the layout right there so you could see that I had added that stitching. So now I'm going to, I still wanted to add a little bit more to the layout. So now I'm going to grab some embellishments from my stash. So I'm going to look through, I had some enamel stars and dots, and those are from Studio Calico. And then I liked the whole idea of continuing the idea of these circles. So what I'm doing is I'm going through all my chipboard pieces. I love chipboard. I think out of all my embellishments, that is one of the embellishments that I use on almost every single project life layout, on every single regular layout. I just love chipboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just looking through all my chipboard pieces, and I'm finding chipboard pieces that match the colors that I'm using in my layout that are also circles. So I can continue to tuck circles around that layout just to add a little bit more to those circles. I also wanted to, because the photo was on the right-hand side, the right side of my layout felt pretty heavy. So I wanted to add a little bit more to the left side just to balance out that layout. So I found that little us chipboard, which built a little bit of those circles on the left-hand side. So I'm going to end up adding that, and then again adding a few more chipboard pieces. I think most all of the pieces that I added are from the Ali Edwards story subscription kits and or Studio Calico. So most of them are from there. That little chipboard piece that I'm adding in there, I had some yellow on the upper left hand in one of those circles from the cut file, and I just needed to pull a little bit more yellow down towards that lower right hand side. So I was happy that I found a chipboard piece to add to that. And it's just the number 4 because my little guy is 4 this year. So that worked out perfectly. And just adding in all those little chipboard pieces, balancing out the colors and the weight of the layout. And then I call it pretty good. Before I finish, I'm just going to add a little of my Heidi Swap color shine in the black, and I'll add that to the upper left and the lower right hand side of the layout, and then I will call it done. So thanks so much for stopping by today. If you have any questions, you can just leave it in the comment box below, and please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it today, and make sure that you go ahead and head over to the Cut Shop to check out this cut file and all the other fabulous cut files that are in the shop. Thanks again for stopping by. Have a fabulous day, and stay tuned to the end for some still photos of my layout. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.